Oh boy, Iran have officially announced their new leader, and things are about to get interesting. Not only because the US strikes killed his father, the former supreme leader, but also his wife, his mother, and his sister. The revenge arc is about to go crazy. But on top of that, this guy is mysterious as hell. Hardly anyone knows much about him. In fact, reports state that many Iranians themselves don't even know what he sounds like. His name is Mujtaba Khamenei. He's the second oldest son of Iran's former leader. He's 56 years old. He avoids the public, keeps a low profile. He's never done a public speech or interview. He was in the military during the Iraq-Iran war, and when he was sworn in, the defense council, along with other politicians, issued a statement reading, "We will obey the commander-in-chief until the last drop of our blood." Not only have Israel already tried to assassinate him before, but they have also vowed to target any successor of his father. And Trump said last week that this appointment would be unacceptable. So the big question is, how long does Iran's new leader last? And will he escalate or de-escalate this war?
Shalom, shalom. That's when I start off by giving all praises, all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Kakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of great men, so not the well. And salutation to the brothers around the world, pitching us wood and truth and sincerity to the folk on the day, heard in the coming of Yahushua and Mashiach and the downfall of Esau, Edom, and the wicked kingdom. Right? And as we see in the video here, the new leader of Iran, Mujtaba Khamenei, right? And we know, he not de-escalating it, because be real, as they said earlier on, the one blood, I believe it was after the strike on the navy, the ships and stuff, right? The one blood, these heathens and them, these nations, these Persians, they want blood, they want revenge for what they have done, right? What going on? The basically America, aka Babylon, they said that they strike a Tomahawk missile onto a school, at least a girls' school, right? And it was and they killed about 200 children. And just imagine this: these things in war, these things will make people's heart, people's mind get better, right? That is what gonna make them even more and more angry. I just want to go down into this here from AI. Right? So with Iran doing now, they're retaliating, and yeah, they also fighting back and sending missiles in Israel, yes. But what they're doing to Babylon, to America, is that they're basically targeting the economy, right? And we know the trickling down from America, because it have a lot of countries dependent on her, and basically the let me say the dollar, the world dollar, is basically USDs, right? It's basically USDs. So if America economy crash, a lot of these other nations who are dependent on her, the economy is going to crash also. If oil prices spike, what's going to happen to these smaller nations, right? And I believe it was the prices are up about, let's see, about $60 to $70 for a barrel of crude oil. But what is seeing here now, what the let me say the specialists on them and these Iranians on them, they want the value of the crude oil to be 200 plus, And that is when things is going to get all hectic, right? Because just remember, the world basically it come like it revolves on oil, because these are the things what helping transport things to your country, if it's food, if it's clothes, and what for so and what so forth, right? These are the things where basically certain countries dependent on. And America, aka Babylon, her dollar is dependent on the oil. That's why we just call it the petrol. A lot of people just call it the petrodollar, right? Right? And these things, that is happening right now, it will when it trickle down, it will have an effect. Simple as us here in Trinidad, will have an effect on us, right? The, let's imagine that 20%, and sometimes I just don't want to believe anything these heathens saying, because it could be even more. But let me go with that. 20% of the world's oil and natural gas passing through the Strait of Hormuz, and now it is no more. These heathens and them, America, aka Babylon, basically they're watching they're watching the dollar depreciate, they're watching things, they're watching money just fall out of the hand, right? Because of the wickedness, the Lord is making these things happen unto her, right? Get this precept here, right? This is the book of Jeremiah 50. I'll start from verse 1. It says, the word of the Lord. So the word that the Lord spake against Babylon, against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet, declare ye among the nations, publish and set up a standard, publish and conceal not, say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces, her idols are confounded, her images is broken, her images are broken in pieces, for out of the north there shall come up, for out of the north there shall come up a nation against her, which shall make her desolate, make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove them, they shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. And we know who this nation is, right? We know this nation is Russia, right? We know this nation right now. They form the alliance, the BRICS, right? And they are also siding with Iran, right? As a lot of these other nations that I'm saying, I believe it's Kim Jong-un from North Korea say, hey, but we could send a missile, and that missile could basically wipe them out, right? And we know from way back when Iran, these Persians and them, when they go back to the Persian Empire, there was a mighty empire, so the Lord is weakening them back up now, right? The Lord is weakening them back up now, because through all, just imagine this, before all this war, right, they was having negotiations, but we don't know how Babylon is. A matter of fact, let me get a precept one time, because that is sure how these wicked heathens is. They was be saying, hey, peace, 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 but hey, it ain't really no peace. They ain't really want peace. They really want war, because what will happen to the secretary a war Pete Hegseth or something, so right? We don't know he changed his name, he changed his title from the Secretary of Defense to the Secretary of War, because as a guy on YouTube, a YouTuber, right? Basically, he like him at all. He's saying, Peter, you just like war, Pete. That is why you change the name from the Secretary of Defense to the Secretary of War, because he said, Pete Hegs have said for himself that the fine defense song and too, you understand, like he find that song and too weak now, right? This is book of Psalm chapter 55, Psalm 55 and verse 21. And in verse 20, it says, he had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant. The words of his mouth was smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Right? So they will come to you and you will so feel that they want to negotiate with you and this, that and the other. They don't want no war, right? With Iran. They didn't want no war with Iran, because Trump himself was saying that it was Biden he was speaking about. I ain't too sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So he was saying that the president they're gonna cause a war with Iran, and what will happen? He himself come and end up causing a war with Iran. So when they're saying peace, 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 it ain't really no peace. It's what they want. They know that they love resources. They know this. They want to continue building up America and going back to the Golden Dome, going back into the military might. They want to continue being the strongest nation in the face of the earth. But the Lord say in the scriptures, right, he can't bring them to nothing. But so that they basically trying to keep up with the power struggle. They're trying to keep up with being the world's leading military, the world's strongest nation. But no, we know the scriptures speaking about this nation, America, aka Babylon, is going to be destroyed. They're going to be brought down to nothing. Right? I've been this last piece of here. Right? Book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15. 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 28. It says, behold a horrible vision, and their parents they are from the east. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Right? So we know these nations here, these Arabian nations, right? These Arabian countries, they, let's say, starting with these with the Iranians, right? We know they were the Persians back then, right? And it have a lot of other countries that allied with Iran, Hezbollah, and all these other countries, right? The time is going to come where they're going to rise up against Babylon, right? Because they know, right? They know the former glory. So the Lord is going to rise them up against these heathens, against America, against the ones who say they are JEWS but are not. As the scriptures say, are the synagogue of Satan. With that, I just want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Kakodash, double honors to the elders and the apostles of great ministry who do well, and salutation to the brothers around the world preaching this wooden truth and sincerity to the folk and the youth. Shalom, shalom, shalom.